Oh, drag racing fan, it's Between the Slicks with myself, the Monday Morning Racer. And it's a big one because it's the show after the U.S. Nationals there in Indianapolis, Indiana, the 66th running. We've got Amanda Busick on. We've got Dustin Davis on, maybe his first ever public live appearance right here on Monday Morning Racer. And let's dive into some drag racing news that you can talk about, chat with us through the show, as we will bring in Amanda soon and Dustin Davis, owner of Davis Motorsports, later on in the show. Doug Foley, he sounds the alarm in an article that you can find on AutoWeek and Competition Plus, which is where the Monday Morning Racer gets his news on competitionplus.com, stating that, man, the NHRA has got to do some listening to small teams, and that the method to the madness right now is not going to work and continue to function as is, and that there's got to be some serious changes. If you have not read that article by Doug Foley in the strutmasters.com Top Fueler, I highly recommend you check it out. Hey, the Shakedown Nationals are going to be happening not this weekend, but next weekend in Virginia at Virginia Motorsports Park, Tommy Franklin's house. I hope to be there as the Monday Morning Racer providing coverage, and I hope to also have guests on the show pertaining to the Shakedown Nationals. The NHRA, they slash purses with the Gator Nationals looming. I'm sure many of you want to talk about that, and that's going to be a great topic with Amanda and definitely Dustin Davis as a car owner. But the biggest one, I think, of all is that we had a successful, completed, yes, even in the crazy year of 2020, U.S. Nationals. I think that's the biggest news in drag racing, that there were champions crowned. And as we will see here in just a few moments, we've got the pit reporter, the top end reporter herself from the U.S. Nationals. That is Amanda Busick. Let me give you a nice little video intro for her. Introducing, again on Between the Slicks, Amanda Busick, the epitome of class, professionalism, as shoe wear as a NHRA top-end reporter, live. There you go, Amanda. There you go.
That's awesome. I don't know about my fancy shoes today. I just have my sandals on, but...
Hey, sandals are in. Sandals are in. It is great to have you on the show. Thank you for being on, folks. As I told her before going live, I am definitely honored and humbled that I've got professional media on my small little show. So, thank you, Amanda.
I love watching into. I'm always somewhere in the pits, and there you are. And I love being able to cross paths with you week in, week out. It's as you know, it becomes a family, and when you see the people that become part of that family at random points of the day, it's a nice reminder that we're all in this together. So it's an honor to be with you as well tonight.
Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, definitely a big family. It's interesting how you get to know people, and everybody's working and they're doing their thing, and you don't always have the time to really chat like you would want to. But there's a wave, and you move on, or hey, if you need me to snap pictures of your shoes and get them on social media, we can do that for you regularly. We can definitely do that for you. So, hey, folks, in the comments, thank you for commenting. Keep commenting away. We'll try to get to those questions. Well, Amanda, look, I want to give you the floor at this very time and just simply ask, top moment for you as a pit reporter and a top end reporter. There was many, but which one is the top one?
I just have to say Sunday. I mean, obviously the whole weekend was incredible, but for us, hat goes off to all of our entire team. We were supposed to be live on Fox for 5 hours. We actually turned that into 7.5 hours with the rain delay. And to give a little context, 1 hour on television feels like 3. So after 7.5 hours of live television, you are completely wiped, completely exhausted. But to see those smiling faces at the end of the day, because, we get to do the nitro classes and pro stock motorcycle, but we also do Top Fuel Harley. We do Pro Mod. We do the alcohol classes. So it was a very, very full day, and to see the storylines that came to be and just to be part of it for me was, I'm still tired, but it was great. So Sunday for me is the highlight.
Sunday. It was epic. The entire weekend definitely was epic. And I understand that. I'm doing my thing very similar. And yet when I come home, I've got hours of content I shift through. And it's been 12-hour days since the U.S. Nationals, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it and would not want to be anywhere else. Let me very quickly, Sam, look, thank you for watching. And Patricia, Pat, former church member of mine, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate that. So, Amanda, look, I'm going to show this quick video clip, and I want to get your thoughts on the run, and give us a rehashing of what went down.
Opening gets Scotty his first ever win. And all the Vance and Hines guys are over here on Drew's side of the racetrack, hoping he can get class-leading 57. Andrew's ready. Scotty Pollock is a national event winner. Not only that, he's an Indy winner. The Denso U.S. Nationals trophy will go back to Oregon, and Scotty Polachek will take it there.
Scotty Polachek. I know, incredible. I mean, the man for so long. And folks, I do hope to have Scotty next week, but for so long. So for you, what a joy and privilege it must be to get these people for their first wins ever. That's got to be so cool.
It's absolutely my favorite. And someone especially like Scotty, because you've seen in the last, especially the last 2 seasons, him just kind of keep taking a little more on the track. And you could see it kind of building, that it was just a matter of time before he got his first win. And actually you saw it the night before in the pro bike battle from Mickey Thompson Tire. I thought Scotty had a really good chance of winning that, and he did, except he went red at the light. 001, I think it was, which is just ouch. But no, it's so cool. And the way I explain it to people, we don't root for. It's not like we like one driver of the other or one rider of the other. You root for storylines. And the idea that Scotty Polachek picks up his first ever national event win at the U.S. Nationals in a year that's just been so crazy for everyone. He started this dream a decade ago, and to have it realized on a national stage in front of, the fans that have just been ready for this race all season, hats off to Scotty. That's really cool.
It is certainly cool. One of the good guys out there in the pits, him and his wife, Susan. And, watching from the indies at Pro Stock Motorcycle, have already been there. I'm like, man, they've got the performance. That Matt Smith Racing gang has got the performance. He just needed to get some of the lights figured out, and he got it figured out on that pass, and going 200 even there and earlier in the weekend, getting in to be the 4th member of the Denso 200 mile per hour club. So look, what do you think?
Beating a Harley in the final isn't that bad of a nod for him either. So I'm sure the whole thing for him was just such a wonderful day.
I know Matt definitely loves that, beating a Harley in the final.
But I will say it's interesting from my perspective, because in a way, the way that I look at it is, not only is it a moment for the audience at home, this is a moment that I'm also trying to build for Scotty. This is his moment, and I want him to remember it a certain way, and to it's funny watching drivers, whether you're a first-time winner or a 20-time winner. It's neat watching them, their eyes and their brain process the moment, what's happening. So a lot of times I'll try to even slow myself down if I can, just to make the moment more present, because it is, even in our new world, it's still chaotic up there. You have cameras, you have just moving pieces from the Wally to the event medal to there's just so much going on up there. It's hard to get lost in the excitement. So to be able to kind of bring back the momentum into the actual win, I really try to strive to do that for the drivers and riders.
Well, Amanda, you do a great job with that. I've always thought your delivery, you've got an interesting delivery. I have a bad habit of I stack questions within one. but you have a great build up and you funnel it down to a very precise point. And I've always appreciated that and found that interesting how you develop that. Hey, speaking of developing things, William McCurdy here asks this: Amanda, how did you get into drag racing? I know a little bit of the story. Like when I was doing the research for the video, the intro, I found some Raleigh Life TV news, or way back. So clue everybody in. How did you get into drag racing?
Yeah, so for me, truly it was, they always say that chance favors the prepared mind. And I was at a place in my career where I was dabbling in and out of college football and college basketball. And I grew up in the South around motorsports. I will say we were more of a dirt track family. I did make it down to Rockingham, and Piedmont Dragway is 1.5 miles from my aunt's house, so I went there a couple times. But when I found out about the NHRA opportunity with it transitioning from ESPN to Fox, actually I flew down to the national event in Dallas in 2015 and proceeded to put together 2 different content packages for the new executive producer, as well as try to meet people with the league. They invited me to host their red carpet for after the finals in Pomona in 2015 and offered me the job that night. So in 2016, I moved across the country to Los Angeles, and just, for me, as much as I don't want to embarrass myself, I don't want to embarrass our fans. In a way, I represent them. So as to not disappoint an audience or to make people even more proud of the product that we put on air, I really take that serious. So it was a lot of reading, a lot of studying, a lot of talking to anyone and everyone that could talk to me about drag racing. Actually, the first 1.5 to 2 years, Louis Bloom and I shared our commute to and from the office in Los Angeles. And you talk about a wealth of knowledge. I talked to Louis about anything and everything in those first couple seasons. So he was a great asset and resource to me as well.
Yes, Louis Bloom. I can tell you, as a guy that has a drag racing YouTube channel, motorsports YouTube channel, but definitely a niche with drag racing, unlike many other motorsports, you can't go find stats easily for drag racing. It is extremely challenging. So whoever picks that guy up has got a treasure trove in drag racing for sure. So, folks, what was the podcast you were on? Give some great background into your story, even more in depth. They were basketball guys, if I remember correctly. You remember which one that was?
Yeah, it was the one I did recently. It was with my friend Petey. It's Whistle Sports is their podcast.
There we go. Whistle Sports.
They went in deep. They asked me a lot of deep questions. And actually, I see a guy named Chris Duggins. He says hello. So that's a friend of mine from high school. Actually used to drive me to swim practice. So if you guys want some deep stories about me as a young kid, I'm sure hit up Chris. He's got a lot of them, I'm sure.
Chris, send the Monday Morning Racer a message. All right, I've got questions. No. Well, Amanda, look, we're obviously glad that you are in the sport and you're doing such a great job. Now, I've always wondered since a little kid, and definitely now doing what I am doing graciously by Chip Lofton's support with strutmasters.com, how challenging is it to decide who to go talk to and who makes that decision? And let me give you the video to what I'm talking about and tell me who, in fact, you actually did talk to, because I have no clue. Dale? Oh, you talked to both.
In that case, you talked to both. You talked to the points leader that just lost in the first round to the car that qualified number 16, and you talked to the number 16 qualifier who just knocked off the number 1, the pole guy, Tommy Johnson Jr., and leader of the points. That's who you talked to. No, it's a So for me, a lot of times it's storyline. At the time, we had 6 Wallies left to give out. Now we have 5 races left of the season. You have the number 1 in points go out in round 1. That's a big deal for what was going to kind of unfold during the rest of the day, especially when you look at Matt making it to the semis, Jack winning the race. But for Dale Creasy, what a moment. That was his first round win, I think he said, in 10 years. But it's just so sweet because we also know the backstories up there. One thing that people might not know about Dale Creasy, every time that he runs, his mom is in the tow vehicle. And she always walks over and wants to pick up his time slip. And it's just a sweet moment to watch. She was crying at the top end. He was crying. So it's really neat to share in these moments with people.
Definitely. Dale had a good day. I was able to go afterwards and interview him. Kind of my thing out there is talking to the smaller guys and trying to give them some more coverage. Like I was even helping the Leverage family this past weekend. And Dale said, hey, this was the best weekend we've had in a long time because the next round he almost won it. I mean, he went faster than the 4 flat he'd ran there. He ran a very similar time, but
that was right after Bob Bodie had won as well. So it had gotten really exciting up at the top. And Top Fuel kind of followed the ladder. I think there was one upset, and that was the Clay Millican Tony Schumacher, which as the number 3 qualifier, you don't really hope to draw Tony Schumacher in that pairing, but that's drag racing, right? So it was an eventful day all around. It's amazing how it just sticks on your brain. It's kind of sick, right? That you just remember all these things. I don't know. Yes.
It was, man, Indy this year overall, great storylines and a lot of twists and turns, especially funny car. Even last year with funny car, like I was shocked that Ron went out first round like he did, and he really had that race sewed up and goes out first round. So I was amazed. Hey, here's some praise for you from the Mike Ashley. Amanda is super professional and knows how to get the audience engaged with great questions. Definitely agree with you, Mike. Hey, talking about Ashley, what do you think about his boy, the Slayer, as you've been dubbing him?
Yes, I'm like going to rename him, I swear. But I mean, he proved it, right? He proved it this weekend. It's so interesting to me how he just continues to rip off these incredible times at the tree. I think you watched the other day when I was on the Caruso show with Stevie Fast, and I had asked, how is it possible that this kid, I mean, compared to Mark and Stevie, he's just so calm and collected at the starting line. Nothing rattles him. And I find it so incredibly impressive. I had mentioned on that show that you have drivers getting out to look at the time slip for Justin's reaction time, not even their own reaction time. And that says a lot about a competitor. And if you're going to start challenging and making other people around you better, I'm in for that. I'm ready to see this racing, right?
Definitely. And Justin is doing that. I have said for a long time, if someone in fuel would ever figure out the tree and whatever that timing is, they would be deadly and dangerous. And that's exactly what he is. And not to mention, he's got Aaron Brooks. I mean, that team is getting it done performance wise. And when you take the performance and the lights, man, well, that's why they're sitting 4th in points and with a crazy opportunity as a rookie to do something. So definitely. So yeah, I agree with you. He's the Slayer. I like it. What's
interesting is, of course, Indy typically resets the points, right? Well, I kind of, I like that this year is all points on deck, and we'll still have the last race of the season. That'll be 1.5 points. So it'll be interesting to watch. I think the next 2 races, maybe 2.5 races, depending on how someone performs in Dallas. It's going to get really interesting heading into Houston and Vegas.
It certainly is. I see 2020, as crazy as it's been, and though we're not having the full schedule, I'm like, this is actually a great year for drag racing. I really feel like it, story-wise, competition-wise, because every round matters. There, you can't take any races off to do any testing or get your clutches worn in and get those packs set up. You can't do that. I mean, Indy this year, I felt like we're back in the 1980s, and like Bob Glidden's making his run, and he gets the bonus points, and it's like, oh, it's over. I mean, and you see some of those storylines like in Pro Stock. I mean, Jaggy red lighting. Look how close it is there.
Well, and not only does every round matter, every qualifying pass matters. 2 sessions on Saturday, that puts a lot of pressure on people. Granted, in Indy we had 3, but imagine going into that final qualifying session now with every round counting on race day, not qualified. And that's going to happen to some of the bigger name teams. It has happened. So it definitely ups the drama and the excitement. It gives us something to talk about. I hate it. It's at the expense of the drivers, but that's entertainment, right? So it's really cool. I know that there's been some anxiety around this season, some frustrations around this season. And the way I look at it, I hope when the sun goes down in Vegas on that Sunday, that we can all just look around at each other and just, we did it. And it's not one person struggling. Everyone is. It's an ecosystem where there's a lot of voices and a lot of birds to be fed, right? I mean, you have a television department, you have sponsors, you have drivers, you have a league, you have track operators. It's a large dance. And, I think if we can keep some of the positivity and the excitement around, I don't know the official numbers, but I think it was 1.2 million people tuned in throughout the weekend to take in our sport, to take in drag racing. Let's celebrate that. That's fantastic news. And I think the more we can maybe start looking for the light, I think the more positive we can keep the energy and excitement out there.
Certainly so. And I mean, what a great weekend for drag racing with the stories, wherever you stand on the political spectrum. Look, the president of the United States tweeted about drag racing. I mean, the most powerful man in the free world is hundreds of people follow him, and we got that exposure for drag racing. I think that's pretty cool as well. I mean, because NASCAR's got that exposure, in the past, but NHRA really had never got that, and we got a little bit of it. And finally, the redheaded stepchild of motorsports got something. I'm glad. Hey, you brought up Pro Mod. Let's talk about Pro Mod real quickly, and I'll kick it off with this clip.
And the number 16 qualifier takes down in a crash. Top end thorn in the wall on his lid after winning the race. And Chris Thorne won the race, got crossed up in the shutdown, came up.
Oh, but wait, it was Pro Mod.
Sliding down the racetrack. Wind light on for Tutterow and Busick, another one. Car sliding to a stop.
Okay, so I am not laughing at this, but it's funny that you have this angle, and you can go back and watch it, and you'll see. So Chris Thorne, after his crash, I was actually at the starting line to do an interview for our main show. So I hopped on my golf cart, headed straight back up to the top end. The camera followed me. I actually like to be at the top end for Pro Mod for every session, just because you do not know what's going to happen in that class. They're especially on race day, these guys are just always so on the edge, and you just know that they're not going to lift. They're going to fight it out. They're going to give themselves every chance that they have. But I had to do stuff for the show, so I was at the starting line. So I go up, interview Chris. They get everything back together. Well, I had popped down after the interview with Chris. I'd popped down to our compound to grab our box lunch, and I'm on the way up. And if you go back, and this is TMI, and I don't mind sharing, I'll just tell the audience. But I still needed, I forgot to use the restroom in the TV compound. And so I'm driving up the track, and there's a porta potty just past the scoreboards, right on the left-hand side. No one ever uses it. So I'm like, cool, I'll take that one. And then, but I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, this could be dangerous with Pro Mod on the track. And sure enough, if Steve Matuszek did not stop that, and when he got on the roof and started sliding, literally the car stops right almost in perfect line with the porta potty. So if you go back and look at that video, you see me jump on my golf cart and just go straight over. So TMI, but you just, it's one of those things. And I had thought about that even before. I was like, this could be an interesting location. But I was like, nah, I'll be fine, because I needed to get to the top end in case something else happened, and something did. The hardest, I'm typically the first reporter on site. And a lot of my job at that point is relaying information, not necessarily for television consumption, but to relay information back to my boss and our producers so that they know whether adjustments need to be made on NHRA.tv, or if driver's out, okay, show the camera. There's different obviously procedures that we have to go through to protect someone's privacy and all of those things. So I'm kind of there as almost a reporter, not on television, but a reporter back to our television truck, just to give a lay of the land. And the toughest part of it is always seeing the families arrive. Steve was out of the car. Chris was out of the car. But as the families are making their way up to where the crash site is, a lot of times they don't know how their loved one is before they get there. So there's this panic. So it is tough to observe, and there's also a side of relief to it as well. But yes, that is Pro Mod, and I hate to say it's almost guaranteed on race day, but I do not take that class for granted, because it's going to be those guys are going to race to the absolute max every single time.
They are, so when I film at, the PDRA or something like that, I've got a lot of liberty to move and go where I want to. And you never know with Pro Mod. And there's times I try to be safe as possible. And mom's in here in the comments somewhere. She's always worried. I remember one time I filmed Terry Haddock doing like an 8th mile burnout. And I was long ways away, and the car's coming, and it woof. And my mom's like, I just don't want you doing that. I'm like, Mom, it's more dangerous right at the line. I could have got out of the way. So, these cars are dangerous. It is dangerous. Definitely.
Everyone that we bring on, whether it's a runner for the first time or I have an intern, never turn your back to the track. I don't care where you are on the track. Never turn your back. It takes me back to Houston in 2016. Sydney Frigo went over the wall on race. Well, it was in qualifying, but went over the wall and flipped. You just can't predict what is going to happen. So it's better to be proactive and cautionary as opposed to just assume the same thing's going to happen.
Definitely. So some technical points real quick. Dustin, can you hear us? Just wave if you can. Okay, awesome. We'll bring you in just a few moments, folks. We got Dustin Davis in the studio ready to come in. Look, you mentioning telling someone new, don't turn your back to the track. What is your role beyond pit reporter? So you've got like a little crew that follows you, and they got the camera, and there's the guy with the mic, and, you got your belt and all that, are you like manager to them? Or what's that dynamic? How does that work? What are people doing?
We're a complete team. And normally, typically through a season, I typically have the same camera guy and the same utility with me. Now that might rotate at different regions around the country. But no, it's totally my family on race day. There are so many times where just when you're in the excitement of all the energy, Like I'll get hit in the head with the camera, or I'll step on Gus, or I'll get hit. Like it's just a dance up there, and no, we're all in it together. And like for example, in Phoenix this year, we were on air, or our camera was live. I'm interviewing Tommy Johnson Jr. at the top end. He had just won. My leg actually grazes the header, burns through my pant. I have a gnarly burn scar on my leg, my first one. Not that I should be excited, but I am imprinted from this sport forever. But I couldn't, there's nothing I could do except just continue along with my job. And I moved my leg real quick, but you know, when the camera's on, it's on. So you go right into it and you keep it going. Definitely.
So at this time, Amanda, look, I'm going to drop you out. We'll bring you back in once Dustin is in, and I'm going to catch up on a few comments, and we're going to take a quick break. Thank you again for being on, Amanda.
Yes, of course. Thank you, honey.
All right. We'll remove Amanda. She'll be back here in just a few moments. So, yes, folks, let me catch up on a few comments here. So, let's see. McCurdy, Indy was a huge race. Alan Ronhart said that there were 3,680 passes completed. I mean, there was over 800 cars there. That number's up there. Definitely a great race. Alan does a great job with the call as well. Mike Ashley, he says, in my opinion, NHRA is doing the best that it can to navigate a difficult time. We need to support them. We all win as a team and lose as a team. Mike, I agree with you. You know, I can be critical of the NHRA, and I have been for a long time, but they are the premier drag racing organization in the world. And I believe drag racing falls, and I believe drag racing rises as the NHRA and as it rise and falls as well. Here's a good phone. Billy, yeah, man, it has been a long time, just a few hours since seeing you. Thank you for being on the show. And at this time, let's take our break and thank some folks that are definitely helping me out with everything in Monday Morning Racer.
Looking for the perfect do-it-yourself air suspension kit for your truck? Strut Masters has got it. Our complete heavy-duty air suspension kit comes with everything you need. It bolts right in with no modifications. You can have it all. Heavy-duty hauling and towing performance, and the smooth ride you crave. Get a complete air suspension kit for your pickup at strutmasters.com or call us at 866-597-2397.
All right, folks, thank you for liking. Thank you for watching. We're going to bring in Dustin Davis along with Amanda Busick in just a few moments to get you up to speed on who Dustin Davis is. I got this quick little video intro. Car owner, clutch guy, all-around badass, Dustin Davis, live on Between the Slicks. Dustin Davis, welcome to Between the Slicks. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, guys. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Well, it is great to have you on. And this is what I'm going to do. Amanda, I know I didn't prompt you, but I'm going to give you the first question. You're the NHRA pit reporter. You ask the first question for Dustin Davis, whatever is on the table. Go ahead.
I mean, my first question is, how did you like your intro, badass?
That I'm telling you, that's something else. I don't know that I deserve the badass comment, but I'll take it, Lee. I appreciate that very much.
So I had heard a little bit more about your story this weekend. Obviously, Justin getting a lot of publicity and excitement around Saturday. What's your background? What's your foray into drag racing?
We did a lot of nostalgia racing for quite a while. And actually, my background is just from being a fan. When I was a kid, they were my heroes. And, you know, it's something that I've always wanted to do. And when I had the chance to get into it in the nostalgia ranks, we spent a lot of time doing that and chasing that circuit around, and finally made the decision to do a funny car, and kind of went out for a little while back and forth, and that kind of liquidated. And that's when I met with Mike and Justin, and we decided to put the dragster together, and here we are.
What impresses you about Justin?
Yeah, how long you got? You know, for his age and just how many laps he's made in the car is so impressive, with how how cool and calm he is, how robotic he is in the car. You know, and we've had some issues in the pits and, you know, coming out and everything, and he's never rattled. You know, I put him in the car, and we always joke, and he's always just, you know, I can never tell if it's a bigger round or not. I think that's the biggest thing, is because, you know, I know how, you know, the car's volatile, and he's made a lot of laps in the A car and all that, but it's a different animal, and he didn't miss a beat. And you know, whether it's at the camera or he's in the driver's seat, he's on point all the time. I mean, it's very impressive.
All right, so I've got another video clip. Been adding a lot of those into the show lately for both of you. I want to get your perspective on perspective from both of you, because I think it's one of the epic moments of the U.S. Nationals, and it's semifinal. Sean Langdon and Justin Davis. Yes, Pedal Fest. Oh, man, it was so hard. It was so hard to hold that camera straight. The crowd goes wild, and I'm like, I can't do nothing. Oh, so look, guys, Amanda, from the top end perspective, look, what's it like? I mean, do you try to get both? Do you just go talk to the winner? I mean, we don't get those that often anymore in drag racing, and we got it at the U.S. Nationals.
I can tell you exactly what happened. I was standing by with Leah Pruitt waiting to do her interview, and then so what that sounds like at the top end was just a transfer of the Pedal Fest. So Leah and I break stride waiting to do our interview, and we're like, what in the world? And so, yeah, no, it's obviously it was Justin's first competition, Pedal Fest, and Sean Langdon getting the win like that and advancing. Yes, you interview both.
Definitely interview both. Well, I'm glad to know. I don't get to see the NHRA broadcast, so I'm glad that both did get their words in. So, Mr. Clutch Guy, how do you feel about the Pedal Fest as a team owner and in the losing car, but yet, I mean, epic moment in drag racing at the U.S. Nationals?
You know, they're fun to watch. Obviously, you know, we want the car to go to A to B, and that's not what we're shooting for there. And we had some issues that caused it on our side. But it's exciting. And I was proud of Justin, how he handled it. You know, I mean, that's going to happen from time to time. And I think he did a great job driving the car for the first time around doing that. And it was definitely, I mean, it was epic from a fan standpoint. You can't get any better than that. And, you know, I was happy to see that Langdon was able to go on and win the race. And it was definitely cool. From the starting line, it was up and down, you know, like, oh, I thought we had him for a second, you know, got away with one, but it was pretty cool. It was part of our first one, you know, as a team too. So. Sure.
Well, look, we've got the culprit. We've got the culprit right here. Mike chimes in and says that loss my fault, and I was happy. I drilled into Justin's head, safety, fun, and winning. I told him when you guys get to the point and you have to make a decision, lift. So, well, there we have it. Mike taking the blame here tonight. Hey, you know, Dustin, what's it like working with the Ashleys as a whole? I mean, man, Mike's been out there for a long time, from Pro Mod to now, you know, in Fuel, and now his son's in it. What's it like working with the Ashleys?
Oh, it's great. You know, I mean, they've really become more than just partners and teammates. You know, they have such a strong family atmosphere, and, you know, with everybody coming to the racetrack, and it just means the world to our team, you know, and they brought me in from day one. You know, I mean, I shared Thanksgiving with them. They've been really, really great to work with and partner with. And, you know, they work so hard on all of our marketing side and making sure that we have the things that we need. And Mike is the most positive person I've ever met. He's always got great things to say. And when he brings, you know, his energy to the racetrack is really positive for us. And the guys, you know, they love having Mike around, and obviously Justin's a chip off Justin's a little calmer, but really, really great working with them and partnering with them.
Definitely so. Now, I want to put this question to both of you. Amanda, we'll let this be your last question, and then we'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening. And Dustin, we'll let this be the one that we segue in where it's just you and me, mano a mano, question to question. Raymond says this: NHRA is a joke anymore. Hopefully, the pros can find a way to make a paycheck in a different sanctioning body. I'm sure he's talking about the purses being slashed here recently. And let me say this. First of all, any fan out there, so the 47 people that I can see watching right now, Cruz Petragon put a video out today that I think explains things really well. Go watch Cruz Petragon's video. And look, Cruz doesn't talk too much on camera. And when he does, he's serious and he means it. So go check him out. But Amanda, the slashing of the purses, what do you think?
Yeah. Listen, it's been a tough year for everyone. I mean, my boss had to call me, and I'm a contract employee. I'm freelance. There's 24 races in a season. I was going to work about 16, 17 this year, and I think I'll end up working 7, 8. So you think about the pay cut that already exists there, and then my boss had to call me and tell me an additional percentage off as part of a company-wide kind of percentage cut. For me, I don't think that I've never seen the league make a knee-jerk reaction. I don't have access to their books. I don't have access to know what conversations are going behind closed doors. I do know that we had an incredible call with Glenn Cromwell heading into Indy, and he addressed every rumor. He addressed the layoffs. They're in a situation where, we live to protect the integrity and the strength of a company. Sometimes you have to make really tough decisions, and you could see it on Glenn's face. It's not easy to make these decisions, but in terms of protecting their core business, I think they knew the steps that need to be taken. During that conversation, he also told us a definitive answer on what the rest of the season looked like. That came out last week, and told us that we would probably have a late start in 2021. At the end of the conversation, which I thought was a super classy move, Glenn, I'm freelance, so it doesn't affect me, but for all full-time employees of the NHRA, they will have the week of Thanksgiving paid holiday, as well as for the last days ending up the year from Christmas to New Year's. You have a workforce, and it's independent of our company. It's across the country. You have a workforce that is scared, that is unsure of what their future is going to look like. And for Glenn to do that, just to recognize and appreciate what people have been through this year, I thought that showed some tremendous tact and class of saying, hey, we're in this all together. When it comes to the purse cuts, again, I can't say that I would know more details about that than what's out, except that I don't believe that they would make a decision that would at all try to risk the health of the sport. And the other thing that I think we keep forgetting, last year we faced a lot of rainouts. We had a lot of rain in qualifying. We had a lot of rain on race day. Not only does that affect ticket sales, that also affects a television budget. When you are producing a show on Monday, that is money that you're spending that you are not anticipating spending. So we came off of a pretty tough year last year, and to be faced with this, I wish, again, I kind of said it earlier, it's an ecosystem and everyone has a voice, right? Your sponsors, your drivers, your television department, the league. And I'm just hoping that there could be more circles together of people working together.
All right. So I'm sorry, I had someone walking through. Excuse me. You know, live. Things happen. Things happen live. You know that, Miss Header Flames, Miss Headers. So Joe Morrison says here, I do not think that the NHRA would have made those cuts unless they absolutely had to. I have to agree with Joe. And look, Amanda, thank you for your perspective. That's why I like having individuals like you on. You know the sport. You've been around the sport. Great thoughts on where the sport is right now and the situation of cutting the purses, definitely. Well, Amanda, look, again, thank you for being on. And hey, I had a repeat guest once again. I must be doing something right. So it's very cool. Thank you for being on. And we're going to let you go and you enjoy the rest of your evening.
And Dustin, congratulations. Enjoy that Wally.
Oh, thank you so much.
See you guys in Gainesville.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Davis. So I want to show this video clip first. I want to show this video clip. I don't know if you've seen it yet. You might have. Let's see this. I want to get your thoughts on it.
1, 2, 3. Yeah!
Dude, congratulations. You're a winner in the NHRA in Top Fuel.
Thank you, Lee. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was a fun night. You know, I mean, it would have been nice if we could have finished that up at Indy 3 and race that final then. You know, that day that would have been great. But it is what it is, and we got the win, and you know, really enjoyed racing TJ. You know, and I know how long he's been at this, and you know, being that was his first final too, and you know, certainly you know, feel bad for him that you know that there has to be a winner and a loser, but no, it was a good day. You know, I mean, we had to get back to work. You know, we had U.S. Nationals on Sunday. You know, the computer box is right underneath the car right there, so I was a little like, why'd you guys throw water like right here? But they laugh because that's pretty much my demeanor. But anyway, no, it was great. It was Mike got me. You know, he had us go and sit up there. So we both hook, line, and sinker on the soaking there.
Right. Y'all both got soaked. The classic, you know, getting doused with the ice, and I'm sure ice has never felt so good as right then and right there. So, Dustin, look, I asked Amanda about the purse situation. I know you've got to be looking at the cents and dollars. Your thoughts on the slashing of the purse? Many, though, like Joe and Mike, have mentioned that really for you nitro guys, I mean, the purse, I mean, it doesn't cover that much. It never really has.
Yeah, I mean, I think you try to structure your program and your marketing partners and your sponsorship programs and stuff like that to where you're not relying on it necessarily. But I mean, you know, everything helps. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, but you know, I think, you know, this is unprecedented times that we're in, and NHRA is has always been the sport that the fans had the most access to, whether it be in the pits or, you know, just even, you know, close to the racing action. Access to drivers and that kind of thing. So, you know, this year hurts even especially more, I think, for them and trying to keep going. And I've been proud of, you know, the fact that they're able to get us back out on the racetrack. I think it's a big deal to keep us relative as a sport. You know, being that we're constantly battling to be maybe, I don't know what the term would be, but, you know, NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, whatever it is. You know, we aren't necessarily America's top motorsport. So, I mean, making sure that the product is still out there to be viewed is big. And I commend them for doing that. And I'm sure that they're doing what they have to do. You know, like Amanda said, I don't know the books there. And so, but I can only imagine how incredibly difficult it's been to stay, you know, keep moving here. And I commend them for doing what they have.
Right, and I'm sure you definitely do know. I mean, you own your own business, and you know you're a blue collar working type of guy, and in the demolition world. So explain to the folks, even though you're a Top Fuel car owner, you get your hands dirty on and off the track. What is it in the demolition business that you do? I mean, are we talking like, full explosions and things of that nature? What do y'all do?
No explosions. We don't use any explosive or dynamite or expansive, electric charges or anything like that. All heavy equipment. We are demolition contractors first and foremost. We own a couple of recycling facilities. Do a lot of recycling, some landscape product manufacturing, kind of through the, hazardous removal, utility and abandonment and things like that. Here we operate in Northern California. I'm here in my office in the Santa Rosa facility. And so, yeah, actually, I get my hands dirtier more with the race car on the demolition side. It's a lot of keyboard and phone and driving and that kind of thing. But I'm lucky to have really, really great people here that, keep the ship going straight while we're out running the race car.
Right. You definitely do get your hands dirty on a race weekend. It's funny, like when you're busy, I'm not. And when I'm busy, you're not. So you and I don't really ever get to talk really. And I watch though, and I film, for Strutmaster cars and definitely following Justin Ashley. And you're there in the nitty gritty. I mean, clutch guys just get covered in it and you're dealing with something so extremely hot. I've got to ask, I mean, here you are a team owner and you're working on the car regularly, getting dirty, getting nasty, getting hot. I mean, injuries of all different small types, I'm sure. Why? I mean, you could be there in like a polo holding a little drink with an umbrella, I'd imagine, and you probably, you'd be fine. But why are you working on the thing?
Well, first off, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me, sitting with a drink in my hand with a polo. For me, it was my end into the sport. I don't have a background in drag racing. My favorite thing to do is thrash with my teammates. I'd love to turn screws someday and working with Aaron and Jason and all of our boys that has been just, and doing it at a pro level is a dream come true for me. And when I was a kid, my heroes were crew chiefs and I enjoyed watching the turnarounds and that kind of thing. And, it's kind of it's the ballet that goes on, having that many guys turn a car that fast is impressive. And, we're getting better every round. And, I think that's just part of it is that I want to do my part. And I feel like clutch system stuff is very intricate and the tune up for Aaron and keeping it consistent for Justin. And just something that's where I started and I enjoy doing it and, keep doing it.
Man, you see, that's why I like you. You're a team owner out there getting it done. You're in the nitty gritty. You're not just up in the trailer. I love it. I love seeing that. It's really definitely throwback to the old days of drag racing. I love it, man. So 2020, crazy year. I'm sure it's been crazy for business. It's been crazy as a team owner, but man, did you ever think that your team would be where it is right now? And where do you think it is right now? And where do you still want it to get to?
Mike asked me when we met, the first time we had dinner, he said, what are you here to do? And I said, I want to win a championship. And he kind of smirked and said, well, that's a pretty tall mountain. And I said, well, otherwise that's why, otherwise, why am I here? I mean, we want to win races. We want to win a lot of races, but we want to win a championship and we want to, be a good steward for NHRA. And we want to, be a good return on investment for our marketing partners. And that's really what, our goal is. I think that we've had a phenomenal start. Considering the year is what it is and with pandemic and we're almost running the program on a weekend to weekend because we had a lot of, races that either got canceled or postponed. And that thing has made things difficult for planning and, for building the program too. Cause we went through a pretty big layoff and we had some good momentum coming out of Phoenix and we're looking forward to Florida and, or Gainesville at the time. And so, I commend our guys. I'm so proud of them because it's hard mentally to, when you have the big layoff and then you have to come back and you don't really ever know when the next race is going to be, that's mentally, this sport about consistency and repetition. and making sure that it's the same every time and that you don't make mistakes. And I think when you have layoffs like that, it's harder to do. So I've been so proud of our guys and how they've responded to, to the schedule and to how, we've had to kind of run by the seat of our pants a little bit, being a new team and being, working on our funding and everything that goes along with being a new team. And so, that's first and foremost. I think where we are now is you are what you are, right? I mean, I think we're a team that is capable of winning races like we've shown, and we can go rounds, and we're fourth in points, I think, right now. So I think that's exactly where we are as a team, is that fourth isn't first, so we've got room to improve there, and the consistency of the car is coming around, and that's really what we're going for. So I mean, I couldn't be happier. We're for this year and how difficult this year has been, and in every other aspect of life, more than drag racing, and for us to be having the kind of year that we have, and salvaging Justin's rookie year, really, I'm very pleased, and I'm proud of our people.
Man, you definitely do have all the reason in the world to be proud of this team. And you mentioned the team and personnel. So I've got to ask, as a team owner, and I'm sure you discussed this with Aaron, how do you evaluate team members? Because like when you work at a company, they look at, okay, you made this many units and, you messed up on this many products. How do you evaluate people in a nitro team? Because I was in the shop during one of the indies, and there was some team drama. I don't want to get into that, but I'm like, that's going on. So how do you actually evaluate nitro crew members? What's it look like?
Well, that's a tough question. I think, first off, when you spend that much time with somebody and you're under fire, and it's race day is a stressful day. And as much as we all really love it, I think that none of our guys or any of these guys in the pit stall would tell you that it's just, a laid back, easygoing day. It's you're going all the time, and, it can be difficult. So I think the guys, they get after each other a little bit here and there, and that's okay. To me, that's fire, and that's, that's passion, and that's going to happen. As far as evaluating teammates and employees or crew members, I'm looking for the love of the sport, and I know that that's difficult to do. I think if the adage stays true, is you do anything long enough, it finally becomes a job, and I think that's true with drag racing too, because it's a painstakingly amount of work, and we're getting to the point where the program's growing. Things are, our inventory is growing, and that helps with, not just driving guys into the ground where you're trying to survive on, less parts. It allows you to be more prepared and do more work in the shop, which makes the race weekend much easier. So, and I think that's it. I mean, I've got some guys pulling double duty with the demolition company, and they work an awful lot of hours, and I'm I kind of can be demanding that way, but but our team is phenomenal. I put our team up against anybody out here. I think Justin would tell you the same thing. We're going to have our growing pains that any new team would have, but I couldn't be happier with the people that we have right now.
Right. Y'all have a great team, and I think for me, I go back to Phoenix. What happened Phoenix before round one for Justin and that team was a litmus test. It was a telltale sign that this team's got it and they can get it done. And then, not to mention, if I remember correctly, the Summer Nationals where y'all set up, get past round after round and set up to eventually win the finals, and you win the Summer Nationals. That's also the race in qualifying. The car just cut off. Y'all had to fix that and come back. So y'all have had some gremlins popped up, but y'all just shot them gremlins in the head, and y'all went on and won and done, and got rounds. So definitely you've got a good team there. And that's a tribute to you and Aaron and others. So I'm excited for what Davis Motorsports got in the future. Well, look, the boss man, my boss man at least, he chimed in, Chip Lofton. He says, awesome team. And that is certainly true. Chip, as a sponsor, Davis, what do you think, man?
Yeah, Chip is like Mother Teresa of drag racing. I mean, he's phenomenal. I could not be more grateful for Chip. I mean, he came on in the beginning, and we hadn't even made a lap yet. And, basically, we sat down and talked with him, and he has done everything that he has said that he would, and not for us. I mean, I'm thankful for Chip for drag racing, that we have guards to run, because I think, that's the kind of guy that he is. He's passionate, and he's out there. He pushes the car through the water box. He's the first one in the morning. He's got a cup of coffee in his hand, asking me if I need help with tires. I mean, he's that kind of guy, and I just couldn't be, so blessed to have Chip Lofton, not just with Davis Motorsports and Justin Ashley Racing, but just the NHRA is lucky to know that man.
Definitely so. And folks, Chip Lofton eventually will be on Between the Slicks. I'm going to get him on. I'm going to get him on. It's a challenging thing, but I'm going to get him on. So look, Dustin, I'm going to throw up a break real quick, and then I got one last question for you. I do definitely want to respect your time and get you out of here there on the sunny West Coast. Hero Soap Company is a veteran-owned establishment that produces all-natural, essential oils-infused soap that is sold with a portion of the proceeds supporting other veteran groups. Hero Soap Company. Heroes supporting heroes. Be a hero yourself and buy a bar and let freedom clean. All right, guys, if you want good soap, check out Hero Soap Company. I know personally it is good soap. And if you want to chide me on having a soap sponsor, I'm talking to the man that's got Manscaped on the side of the car. My goodness, I can't believe we've gone there. So, Dustin, my last question for you, again, because we're so busy, almost like two ships passing and all that, with what you do and what I do. I haven't got to ask this yet, and I've seen it. So during warm-up, you're most time at the rear of the car, and you got the mask on, the nitro fumes are going everywhere, and you stick your hand in between the wing, and you lay it somewhere, and I usually can't see what you're doing because I'm filming up front. What are you doing during warm-up, man?
I put my hand on the top of the rear end housing, and if I can feel anything, as the tires start to turn, and then as he goes through his process of forward and reverse, I keep my hand on the pumpkin back there to see if I can feel anything, and then I'm also watching linkage, and and our whole clutch department back there, and then there's a lot of fuel lines and things that come off the back of the blower, so there's a lot to watch on that backside.
Definitely cool, man. Now I know, and other folks know, that if they ever see a guy there in the back doing that, that's what they're trying to figure out. And look, as I told Justin after that day, he couldn't reach the reverser. I'm like, well, that's why y'all warm these things up, because stuff.
That is for sure.
Stuff happen. Well, Dustin, look, man, I'm honored to have you on. You're the first car owner I've had on, period, that I can think of that's not a driver as well. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you for your time, and enjoy sunny California.
I appreciate it, Lee, and I think thanks for what you do and all the, bringing all the information to the folks out there, and I'll see you in Gainesville.
Yes, sir. We'll see you in Gainesville. Take care, Mr. Davis. Folks, well, we're in the shutdown. Last word here from the Monday Morning Racer. Yes, the chutes have been popped. I'm rolling off the shutdown area, and I'm about to ready to get out of this thing in real life. Go get something to eat. I'm hungry. Folks, let me say this. The NHRA 66th U.S. Nationals was an astounding success Great stories such as Scotty Polachek after a decade getting his first win. Justin Ashley getting his first win, completing the Summer Nationals. Records set such as Megan Meyer with a 5:09 in the alcohol ranks. Wow, what a mic drop toward the end of what is the end of her career. Look, I do think the NHRA actually did miss something. That is in pro stock. If you remember, Jed Coughlin Jr. had the only throwback scheme for the pro stockers. And it was intended that they all would have actually throwback schemes. I believe that the NHRA is missing out on merchandise, sales, hype, the buzz with not having a throwback weekend. Yes, I understand there's the nostalgia ranks. But can you imagine the buzz around John Force running a modern day version of Brute Force? Can you imagine a modern day version of a Bud King car out there? Can you imagine a modern day version of Bob Glidden's Pro Stock out there? The NHRA needs a throwback weekend. Look how successful it has been for NASCAR. Look how successful it is for MLB, NFL, NBA. The NHRA next year, 2020, hear me out, establish throwback weekend. And I'm going to tell you where I think it needs to happen. It needs to happen in Epping, New Hampshire, because that track is a throwback facility. You get those old school vibes and how cool it would be to see all the old paint schemes come back to life and we enjoy a throwback weekend. It would be even better, too, if a funny car or two gave a dry hop on the line. I'm just saying, folks. Look, until next time, I'm the Monday Morning Racer. God bless, and keep the pedal